Okay, we're live, Ambria.
All righty, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We have a very dynamic panel in store for you guys today. This is our business coronavirus session part 2. And we really just want to talk to you about opportunities available to business owners that you may not know about. And we just want to share information with you and be a resource for you. And the panel today is going to do exactly that. So I'll start off introducing everyone. Oh, first I'll introduce myself. My name is Ambria Michalajczyk. I am born and raised Toledo, Ohio. I own ARC Restoration and Construction and a real estate portfolio here in the Toledo, Ohio area. Since I am a small business and entrepreneur, I've taken advantage of all the resources here locally in Toledo and have personal relationships with most of the panelists that you'll hear from today. So first, I would like to introduce Roy Hodge. He's an entrepreneur in residence for Jumpstart Inc. He's the founder and CEO of REH System Solutions. He leads a team of customer-focused, results-driven professionals to provide best-in-class information technology solutions. He solves complex business problems for federal government agencies, corporations, nonprofit organizations, and ministries. REH System Solutions was founded in 2006. It's headquartered in Holland. He has office locations in Atlanta, Montgomery, San Antonio, Texas, Washington, D.C. He specializes in cloud computing, cybersecurity, managed services, training, and information technology. He has a master's in business administration, and he's expanded his knowledge by earning several IT certifications. He's dedicated to service in his community and serves on several boards, such as Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce, Lucas County Workforce Development, Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce, TASMA, Regional Growth Partnership, the National Black Data Processing Associates. The list goes on and on. Roy is busy changing his community. He also serves Atlanta Black Chambers, where he contributes as technology lead. He lives in Northwest Ohio with his family. He enjoys golf, reading, travel as his hobbies. Next, we have Sheila Maribel. She is a vice president and certified treasury professional at PNC Bank, where she provides a consultative approach to developing strategic cash flow, liquidity management, and fraud mitigation solutions for business owners. With over 20 years experience in the banking industry, Sheila has been invited to share her expertise on panelists on news radio, Leaders in Innovation Business Education Series, Small Talk, on CBS's Detroit's with the number of community organizations, chambers, and Rotary clubs that she serves on. She holds a BBA in marketing and BA in Japanese from Eastern Michigan University. She is a member of the Great Lakes Association of Financial Professionals, a volunteer advocate and certification review committee member for Great Lakes Women's Business Council. She also serves on several boards, and in 2015, Sheila was honored as one of Michigan Chronicle's 40 Under 40. Nice to have you, Sheila. We also have Bill Wursel, who is my friend and personal business advisor. Bill is the director of Small Business Development Center at Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce. The Small Business Development Center is a no-cost professional consulting service sponsored by SBA, Ohio DSA, and the Toledo Chamber to provide present and future business owner advice on developing long-term profitable businesses. Thanks, Bill, for joining our panel. We also have my very close friend and mentor, Rhonda Sewell. Rhonda serves her community like no other. She is a beast for her community. Rhonda is the manager of external and governmental affairs for the Toledo-Lucas County Public Library, a tireless servant leader and community volunteer. This professional library advocate has worked for more than 14 years for the Toledo Library and is best known for her award-winning 18-year career as a noted journalist for the Blade newspaper. Rhonda's current work involves managing the library's advocacy strategy for funding and the education and stewardship of legislators, elected officials, policymakers, and community leaders in organizations on the mission and goals of public libraries. I cannot read to you everything that Rhonda does in her community, but know she serves on several boards and committees, such as the board of ProMedica for the Russell E. By Children's Hospital Foundation. She serves on the Northwest Ohio chapter of Public Relations Society of America, YWCA, the Toledo Ballet, the American Heart Association, the Art Tatum African American Resource Center at Kent Branch Library. Her volunteerism goes on and on. Thank you, Rhonda, so much for joining our panel today. We also have Lenora Mcintyre, who's also a close friend. When I initially wanted to start my business, she was one of the first stops, and we've had a great relationship ever since. Lenora Mcintyre is operations manager and certified business advisor for the Minority Business Development Center, incubation program, and again, Minority Business Assistance Center at the University of Toledo. Prior to coming to the University of Toledo, Lenora spent over 19 years as a corporate industry accountant, teacher, and she's a successful co-owner of Peak Electric, an NBE and 8A electrical supply company. So she has personal experience and knows exactly what it means to run a business. Thank you so much, Lenora, for joining our panel. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Today, I had the pleasure of speaking with Sheila for the first time, and I'm so incredibly intrigued by her title and what it is that she does as incorporating technologies into small business. So as we know, unfortunately, a lot of small businesses weren't able to take advantage of a lot of the programs because they just weren't technology focused. And those that already had technology in place were able to thrive throughout coronavirus. So Sheila, can you speak more to us about your role at PNC and what it means?
Sure. Thank you for having me. Basically, what I do at PNC is I help small businesses, typically in the 1 to 5 million revenue range, to manage their cash flow more efficiently. And we do that by incorporating technology into that whole cash flow cycle.
That's awesome. All businesses are interested in increasing cash flow. That's for sure. Earlier when we spoke as well, you mentioned fraud mitigation. Can you tell us more about how you help small businesses mitigate fraud? I know of a particular example here in Toledo where their entire program system was hijacked by hackers, and they held information and data at ransom. And I thought if something like that happened, I wouldn't know what to do. So how do you help small businesses mitigate that?
So the first thing, the most important thing that we do is educate those small businesses. Earlier you mentioned that I'm out at chambers and Rotary clubs. I'm talking to small business owners about knowing their business inside and out. We talk about external forms of fraud, like what you mentioned as far as the ransomware, which has been growing year over year. I mean, they have had some huge ransomware attacks all over the world, attacking hospitals and municipalities, where they freeze up all of their information and they ask for Bitcoin in order for you to be able to access that data again. We talk about internal forms of fraud as well. So, just setting controls in place, making sure that you're auditing, always know what your employees are doing, have a backup for that one person that does everything, make sure they're not the person that's really doing everything and somebody still knows what they're doing. I do have a slide, and the first slide indicates from the AFP, their annual survey, that 81% of companies had some type of external fraud last year. And as you can see, it's been increasing. It's about the same as last year, but it's been increasing year over year. Even though check payments are starting to decline, companies are still using checks, especially small businesses. So we talk about mitigating fraud by electronifying their payments, migrating to more electronic payments like ACH, like credit card, those types of things. On the second slide, we talk about some internal fraud statistics. And this is from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. They put this survey out every year as well about internal fraud. So you can see here that small businesses are more likely to experience billing fraud, payroll fraud, fraud from check and payment tampering, because there's usually, one or two people that are running everything. They have a person that's in the office, and that person is making checks out to their boyfriends and their family members. They're adding people to or they're tampering with their QuickBooks. They're printing out checks to themselves or to their own friends or whatever, but in QuickBooks, it says something else. So even if you monitor your QuickBooks, you still need to be the person that's signing those checks. If you're going to more electronic types of payment, you can get rid of some of that fraud.
Right, which is so difficult to do, right? Because you hire people to help you and you don't think that fraud is going to happen to you. And once it does, it can be very difficult to come back from. So that's very important work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheila. Bill, so you've been with the Small Business Development Center for quite some time. And I know that it was formulated back in the 80s. And you've been doing a lot of that work. In fact, you are very decorated. You've won a number of awards and things like that from your small business work. For those small businesses that may not know what you do, can you share with us some of the resources that you guys offer?
Okay, thank you. It's always been a pleasure to work with you, Ambria.
Thank you.
She's a good listener and she follows through on things, which is as a consultant, it's always wonderful to work with people who actually follow through on the advice that is provided. So thank you. First slide, please, if we could. So I'm from a very structured program, and that program is called Small Business Development Centers. We are funded through, thank you. We are funded through the Small Business Administration, as well as the state of Ohio and the membership of the Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce. And with all those supporting agencies and programs, we offer professional, no-cost financial consulting to small businesses in both startup and whatever stage the business is in at the time. So we do help to put together financial projections, and we interact a lot with small businesses with their bank to try to get access to that original funding that you need for startup. But we also work with either existing healthy or existing declining businesses. And unfortunately, with the COVID crisis, we've had more of the problems with declining businesses over the last several months. Next slide, please. So due to the fact that we are part of the Small Business Administration, in that we are a direct line from the SBA to the clients, we have been helping businesses to access the former program, which was called the EIDL, EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan. That program is now closed. There are no more loans or grants coming from the EIDL program. However, the Paycheck Protection Program, which is working with your bank, is still open. And just recently, the Congress and the federal government made some very unique and very important changes to that program. They have changed it from having to spend up to 75% of the monies on employees to down to 60%. And they've also expanded out the amount of time that the business has to work with that money. So what we're trying to help people to understand is how to strategize the spending of that particular money, because it may be that you're freeing up funds that are coming in through sales that normally would have gone into payroll. You can use this funding as a source for that payroll or for some of the other related expenses of operating the business. We want to see that you take full advantage of this program, and if you do, the amount will be forgivable. So on Monday of the coming week, on the 15th, you will be able to participate in a webinar through ourselves, through the SBDC and the Toledo Chamber and William Vaughn CPA firm, where they will go through step by step the differences in the previous part of the program, the PPP, that's Paycheck Protection Program, for your employees or for yourself if you are an independent contractor. That link will be available on the Toledo Chamber website, and I'll give you some information on that in a moment here with one of the other slides. But there is another program that we also have available to people that has not been so widely known, and that is the 7A loan program through the SBA. Once again, this is administered through your bank, but the beauty of the SBA 7A program right now is that if we have an existing loan, the government, the SBA, is actually paying 6 months of principal and interest payments on those existing loans. Anyone who needs access to small amounts of money right now for inventory, for expenses, and they are working with their bank and probably the SBDC to get access to that, if we can get a new loan closed for you between now and the end of September, then the next 6 months or the first 6 months of that particular loan will also be paid by the SBA.
Wow.
And there are no prepayment penalties if you pay this off early as well. So it's a great opportunity for small businesses that need that extra financial push to get them through this critical time, because the SBA will cover the payments for us. If we get the loan closed in September, there would be no payment due from the business until the next spring.
So, Bill, I have a quick question for you. So if small businesses were able to take advantage of PPP or EIDL, are they still eligible for 7A loan as well?
Yes. Every one of these programs is not unique unto itself. They can all be used by the business because they're all intended for different purposes.
Gotcha. Now, can you speak more to the requirements? Because it's been in my experience that sometimes they have different type of requirements that companies may not be eligible for. Can you speak to any of the requirements?
Well, the requirements for these programs have been pretty loose in that they're not really checking credit scores, not for the PPP. Well, the PPP they do because it's through the bank, excuse me. And they probably will for the 7A program, but they've relaxed those credit score standards in most cases. So it's important to work with an advisor because we do this all the time. Well, actually, one of my consultants left Huntington Bank as a lender to come to our program to help people to get access to those lending programs. We are very experienced in this work. And it's available.
Right. It's available. It can certainly help you in times like this. What I find very important with the work that you guys do is that if a person doesn't necessarily have a great banking relationship, that they can partner with you guys who already have the relationships intact. And so it would help a business owner get further along in the process than if they were to just go it alone. And so I think that's a very important point.
We try to introduce you to an actual lender rather
Right.
than the branch manager or the assistant branch manager that you may be interacting with. And when we interact with lenders, we have more influence on their decision because we know what they need from you, the business owner. Now, the critical aspect of this is also what was discussed earlier. You must have decent bookkeeping because we need to have a lot of reporting of previous sales and expenses and profitability. So our real focus is on trying to help businesses be profitable right from the very beginning, and then really understanding the market, the cost of operations, and the margin that you need and the number of products that you need to sell or services that you need to sell to make your business profitable. There's no reason to go into business for yourself if you're not going to make money. And the goal of my center is always that if you worked in a business similar to this for somebody else, you should make twice as much money as they paid you to do that work. So you, the business owner, should, if you were working for XYZ company in the role of a manager and making $20 an hour, the business should be able to throw off to you $40 an hour. Now, that's not going to be right from the very beginning, but we want to build towards that goal because there's a lot of responsibility of owning and operating a business. And I know this from personal experience because up until 20 years ago, when I came to the Chamber of Commerce, I was part of the Wurzel Bike Shop programs.
Oh.
My sister still owns and operates Wurzel's Bike Shop on Central Avenue that my mother and father started 75 years ago this year.
Wow, wow. And I know Wurzel's is in very high demand right now because you cannot find a bike anywhere. So thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Emily.
Rhonda, I was so excited when you agreed to be a panelist because so many people just think of library as a place to go to get books and rent out an occasional movie. But the library is so much more than that, especially as it pertains to business resources. Can you share some of that with us?
I'm very happy to, and Bria, thank you for holding in high esteem the public library here in Toledo. I just want to wax poetic a little bit about our library system here. We are one of the oldest in the state of Ohio. We're a county-wide system, and this year we're 182 years old, one of the oldest in the state.
Wow.
Yes, and we're funded in an unusual way. Nearly half of our funds come from the state in what's called the Public Library Fund, and the other half is we put a ballot measure out about every 5 years, and county residents have been very gracious in their support. But you mentioned how libraries today are beyond books. Not since the age of Andrew Carnegie have we seen so much development in libraries and library construction. And the Toledo-Lucas County Public Library is just an amazing system, one that our county is very proud of. Books, of course, it's the publishing industry is not going anywhere. But we have definitely jumped on the bandwagon of technology and digital resources. And a huge part of our system is our business and workforce department. And that is a department run by, I call them unapologetically rock stars. We have people who have been in business in the community. They've walk the walk and talk the talk, as they say. There's David Topolesky, who's the manager. Everyone knows David Topolesky if you're a budding entrepreneur. Linda Fairweather, many know her from the Mommy Chamber and co-founder of the Women's Entrepreneurial Network, business owner herself. We have two new rock stars on our team, Zachary Huber, who is a grant specialist. There's a lot of emergency relief as it relates to COVID-19, some of the things that Bill was talking about. And he is just an expert in navigating some of those waters for existing businesses. And then there's Melly Douglas. I'm so proud to say that I live in a community that is a welcoming community, and the Toledo Library has welcomed Toledo-Lucas County. And Melly Douglas, she works with immigrant and refugee population. So these are the four rock stars who make up our business and workforce department. And that department does a number of things. And we really like to say that the library is a safe haven, and one especially for women, for African Americans, for non-whites, people of color. It is a safe haven to go to gain expertise and information. And also, we're free. So you can't beat that kind of expertise from people who have been in the business. If you were to pay someone, it could be upwards of $100 per hour, some of the information that is free at your public library. And oftentimes people are so humble when they get all of the information from our experts. They often say, "How much do we owe you?" And we have to tell them that this information is free. One program, I want to just mention briefly some of our programs. One is Ask an Attorney. It's a decade-old program that is just an amazing wealth of information. So you can actually gain insight from local attorneys on patents and copyright and trademark when starting your business. Bill knows all about that. So, you know, an attorney fee would be maybe $150 to $200 an hour. This information is free from local attorneys. And if we can just go to the slide, I want to show viewers where they can definitely get, if we can go to slide 2, this is for the library slide, Shannon. We can go to the library slides.
Yeah, there
we are. So right there, if you can stop there, that is the web site, the URL, ToledoLibrary.org is our website. But if you go to ToledoLibrary.org/business, that is the link that you want to visit if you're just a small business or if you have an idea to start a business. This particular link is one that you need to carry around like a platinum card, I should say, because once you hit that link, there's a wealth of information. There's databases, and databases, all that means is a set of data in one location. So we have databases that can help with your business. You can learn about the field that you're maybe going to start as an entrepreneur. You can even learn through these databases about your competition. And just your overall goals and creating a business plan, which is really, instead of Googling, we always tease in our profession that librarians were the original Google. So these specialists that we have can help you navigate sort of starting a business. And we get a lot, Embria, of people of color and women coming to us. And again, I can't emphasize enough, the library is considered a very safe space, a non-judgmental space. And I think that's very important to mention on this call, because it can be very intimidating going to a lender or someone else who maybe you're not as familiar with, maybe you don't know the lingo or the jargon of business. And here we have people who have started businesses for themselves. If you can go to the next slide, Shannon. So these are some of the things that I mentioned before, and Bria, we can help you research the industry. Maybe you have a business idea, learn about that competition, even identify potential customers within the region that you want to set up your business. Also, to find funding. Many times lenders, nothing against lending institutions, but it's no secret, I'm keeping it real tonight, that women and minorities really have a hard time at traditional lending institutions. That is historically factual. And sometimes what we can help you with is to find different sources of funding, or to help you navigate where to get a loan. And also just to how to establish operations. Like, those are the things that you wouldn't really traditionally think that a library can help you do some of those things, even writing that business plan I told you about, but also even a marketing plan. So those are some of the things that are just, we want you to start out really at the library. And every single panelist on this call, we work with all of them. So we're sort of the sounding house, and then we're the reference point. And then we can send people over to Lenora with the MBAC at UT, or to Roy's doing such amazing work with Jumpstart and the African American Chamber, or Bill Wursel. He's one of our rock star partners as well, that he has helped us in so many ways, in the Chamber and the Regional Growth Partnership. So we partner with a lot of other institutions, but we can help you navigate, and we have so many success stories. And this particular conversation is important because even during the shutdown of the library due to COVID-19, our business and workforce experts were actually working from home. They were conducting Zoom meetings and virtual meetings, phone meetings with people who really were in need of navigating PPP and other COVID related, the lockdown, or what to do with their organizations. So one of the things that's been alarming, Embria, right now, you can go to the next slide, Shannon. One of the things that's been really alarming is the fact that the National Bureau of Economic Research just released those alarming stats. You can see it all over the news right now, that 40% of Black-owned businesses are not expected to survive this COVID-19 world that we're all experiencing right now. And sometimes that is due to them not getting the help that they need, or not knowing where to access that information. So I can't say it enough that the people that you see on the screen now, Linda Fairweather and Zachary Huber, those, take a screenshot, do whatever you need to do on this particular slide, because email would probably be best. We're still closed to the public, but we're all back and working and preparing for our reopening. And Linda Fairweather at linda.fairweather@toledolibrary.org and zachary.huber at toledolibrary.org. You can also call us. Our phone lines are back on, but email is probably the best way to contact these two experts. You can take the slide away now, Shannon. Thank you. But Embria, you know, overall, I just wanted to just emphasize on this call that especially for folks that have traditionally been semi-successful in business, but kind of locked out of access to information about the development of small business, start at the library. And we can get you to all of these wonderful people on the call today, and we can also help you navigate starting your business. And if you're an existing business, accessing valuable resources which will help your bottom line.
Okay, so wow, Rhonda, you just unpacked it a whole lot for us. And so I'm sure people really want to know, when are you guys opening so they can run to the library and take advantage of these resources?
Well, we are operating curbside contact, so, and our book drops as well. So you can actually drop off your books. People were very anxious during our shutdown to drop off their books, and we are a fine-free institution. So we tried to talk people down off the ledge to tell them it's okay, you can keep your books for now during this unusual time of ours. But people really were anxious and being responsible borrows to, you know, bring them back. So it was just really kind of funny when we talked to the community, but they've been so patient and gracious about our closing. We are a public facility, so we want to make sure that people are safe when we do reopen. We just announced today, actually, so this is a very timely question. June 22nd, we will have a limited reopening, so select locations, which will be announced pretty soon, will be open for computer use. And as you know, the library stands in the gap with some of the social and systematic inequities that we hear about in the news every day. You know, from the heels of the George Floyd case, we have definitely addressed the digital divide, being in neighborhoods and walking distance, even in low income neighborhoods. We have computer access. So June 22nd will be a limited select location, very limited use, like low contact, or what we say no contact or low contact. So with the governor's orders now, we cannot have people gather for 10 or more people together. So most of our meeting rooms won't be accessible, no browsing like you did prior to COVID-19. So we'll have more information to come, but that was released today. We took our executive leadership team, which I'm a part of, we took a phased approach to this, a measured and responsible approach to reopening in order to keep not only our staff, but also our customers, our treasured customers, safe.
Wow, it certainly sounds like it. Thank you. So, you know, starting a business, sustaining a business, growing a business can be a very daunting task. If you have help, like you, from individuals like you guys on the call, it's certainly doable. And I always say it takes a village to raise an entrepreneur. And I am like living, breathing example of that. And so, Roy, I want to talk to you today about being one of those organizations, a part of my village as an entrepreneur with Jumpstart. And if you can tell me what Jumpstart is for those who may not know, and then what you guys offer entrepreneurs and business owners in the area.
Sure. Jumpstart is an economic, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. You know, it's a pleasure to be on the panel with all of my esteemed colleagues. And, you know, for years, we've been working together in this community, just like we are now on this call. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with each and every one of you. It's really about building wealth in our community with, you know, entrepreneurship and economic development that is sustainable. So to the extent that Jumpstart is a player, Jumpstart is a economic development agency that's been around for about 15 years. it cut its teeth in the northeast part of the state in Cleveland. And, there's some other affiliate offices in other parts of the state, like Canton and even upstate New York. But the Toledo office opened a year and a half ago. It's located at 709 Madison Avenue. I'm working with 5 other colleagues, and we are administering 2 types of programming. There's programming that's available from the State of Ohio Third Tier Program, of which Jumpstart is a grantor for the entire state. So we've aggregated and rolled out some education development and training, some entrepreneur development, some loan funding, hands-on technical assistance, and some mentoring programs by way of outreach activities, one-on-one consultations with members of the Jumpstart team. I happen to be operating and performing in the role of entrepreneur in residence, and I meet directly with Jumpstart's high potential clients. Those clients that are post revenue at about 75,000 K a year. Maybe they've been in business for a year or 2. They've gained some traction with their product or service. They've been able to build a customer base, and they're looking to get their feet underneath them to be able to scale. Oftentimes these organizations are run by solopreneurs or founders that may have 1 or 2 employees. But the thought is to build some organizational structure, access some resources within the community that are available through Jumpstart and the Business Growth Collaborative. I'm going to speak to that in just a few minutes. But it's the entrepreneur in the center of an ecosystem, being able to access, resources and services that allow them to scale their business, create wealth within our community so that we can employ residents of our community and add value. So that's the overall mission of Jumpstart. One of the things that I was really attracted to is the leadership. Ray Leach is the CEO. He and I are about the same age. We have some great conversations, just sharing experiences that we've, accumulated throughout our careers. He is certainly a visionary. I have a lot of respect for Lamont Mackley, who is the Chief Diversity Officer, and the Jumpstart mission of really aligns with entrepreneurs of color. I mean, it's written into the mission, diverse and ambitious entrepreneurs to economically transform communities. And I've actually, memorized the mission statement. I became acquainted with Jumpstart as they were entering the Toledo market, as I was representing the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce, which is another economic development entity. But I'm coming up on a year in July, and over this last year, I've met personally with over 80 entrepreneurs that have come through the Jumpstart doors and have actually sat down. I've seen entrepreneurs in various industries at different stages. And the whole mission is to utilize the resources and exposure and best practices to build an ecosystem in Northwest Ohio. That does not just include Jumpstart, although Jumpstart may be the grant facilitator, but there are other organizations and ecosystem partners that equally provide resources to the entrepreneur.
Awesome, thank you. Now, are you guys still consulting with entrepreneurs? Have you guys fully opened back up with restrictions, or what's the current status?
Yes, we've never stopped consulting with entrepreneurs. Ironically enough, we have an impact program, which is a 12-week intensive boot camp. And out of the 80 applications that come in, today we're only able to select 5. So when COVID-19 hit, we were midway through cohort 3, and we had 5 amazing entrepreneurs. So when the governor's orders kicked in, we had to pivot, right? Just like any other organization and any other entrepreneur. So our weekly sessions that took place on Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in our office were shifted to online. Microsoft Teams, which is an application, a standardized application that supports video conferencing. So it was pretty interesting, some of helping our entrepreneurs make that pivot to a platform, but it allows us to continue on with the curriculum, of which at the there's a pitch and there's $20,000 up for grabs. So throughout 10,000 to the winner that the judges identify, and then the other 4 split the balance. But in addition to that funding that is certainly available, it's free in the form of a grant. Each entrepreneur gets paired with 2 advisors that literally guide and direct them through the process. So this last cohort, I had the pleasure of working with Tracy Perriman, the CEO of Center for Hope and Family Services. And, we were just guiding through the curriculum. It was just a pleasure to work with her and the other entrepreneurs one-on-one to help them pivot, make resources available to them, be a sounding board, provide some guidance and direction. Some of our entrepreneurs were able to identify additional lines of revenue that were outside of their traditional model because of the need to pivot. So we were able to help and assist them. And at the end of the program, they were awarded the grant money. Some of those entrepreneurs will use that money on marketing. Others will use it on, maybe some patent research or some program development. Even though they graduated, I'm still in the loop as a lead advisor of any impact program alum. So I've got regular cadence with all of those entrepreneurs, at least on a bi-weekly or a monthly basis, as we've identified milestones. And every engagement we have with them is a best practice exercise where we're moving them toward the milestones. And these milestones may have something to do with business development, marketing. It may have something to do with operationalizing some aspect of their business. At the end of the day, it's just really about transferring best practices through education, development, training, and hands-on technical assistance to raise the education and awareness level of the entrepreneur so that he or she becomes more proficient at being able to execute on their business plan. So we've never stopped, working in either office, Toledo or Cleveland. We're running, I know I'm running 6 or 7 Zoom meetings a day. And
Wow.
We're top of mind with our entrepreneurs, just really out there looking to do whatever we can do to help sustain them and to help them get through this tough patch.
Another question for you. So I know you do work with the African American Chamber of Commerce, and we do know based on the statistics that African American businesses were left out of the CARES Act and PPP, et cetera. Have you guys implemented anything that will help? I know there's been a number of different, microloans and things like that available. Are you guys offering any assistance by way of funds and resources for people who may have missed out previously?
Absolutely. So thank you, community, for the opportunity to serve you as your president of the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce. It took me a while to step up to the plate, but the last year and a half has just really been a pleasure. Thank you for all of your input. Thank you, those of you that have joined as members and have been busy working on our committees and helping us just really roll out the strategic plan and integrate into the Business Growth Collaborative, which is an ecosystem of economic development organizations. There's about 12 or 13 of them. Yeah, so thank you for loading that slide. There's 3 programs. So the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce works collaboratively with each of these organizations that you see on the slide. And we do handoffs. So an entrepreneur may be seen and receive services at any or all of these organizations. And we've got a tracking and communication mechanism in place between all of the organizations where we can do a clean handoff of the entrepreneur from one organization to the next. organizations are providing services to the entrepreneurs during those engagements. We're using a CRM system. Salesforce.com is our cloud-based software platform that all of these organizations use to be on the same sheet of music to identify and to provide services and create program records and client service records and case notes, as each of these engagements are taking place. So it's a holistic, totally integrated, collaborative effort that's taking place here in Northwest Ohio. So the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce is one cog in the wheel. As it relates to the chamber, to get to your question quickly, yes, the chamber is ready and available and has been fighting this fight for the last 20 some odd years. I thank those that have gone before me that have, allowed me to just join chamber minutes and just sit in the corner. And now you've asked me to lead as your president. There are 3 programs. There is the mentoring program, and this entrepreneurs get paired with a seasoned veteran that's got some licks, right? That can keep it real and, just really lay out what it takes and be honest about it and just really help the entrepreneur validate that they're really willing and able to go down the path, once we count up the cost, if they're in the early formation stages of their business. There are other entrepreneurs that may be, 3 to 5 years in, and it's something specific that they're looking to fine tune within their business. For example, we have a technology support program at the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce. Our first guest spoke so eloquently about online financial fraud. So by way of the technology support program at the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce, we're able to provide entrepreneurs best practices on data protection and cybersecurity, protection of ransomware, antivirus and malware protection. And this protection is on end user devices, iOS, Android, Mac devices, as well as secure cloud-based applications. These cloud-based applications could focus on a variety of areas of the business like bookkeeping and accounting, email, calendaring and contacts, backup, file storage, disaster recovery, and line of business applications like Microsoft Office 365 or Google G Suite. These best practices allow the entrepreneur to put in place some type of IT infrastructure that allows them to automate the lead generation process, the service delivery process, the billing and invoicing process, and the customer retention process. The third and final program available through the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce is the Legal Assistance and Organizational Development Program. I'm thankful for the African American practicing attorneys in Northwest Ohio that have decided to join the chamber and support this initiative. So the community is able to sit down with someone who looks like them and talk about the legalese of small business, whether it be small business filings, formation with the Ohio Secretary of State's office, Ohio Bureau of Workers' Comp, generalized, whatever it is legal. Those resources are available through that third program. So just to sum up again, 3 programs available through Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce: mentoring, technology support, legal counsel, and organizational development.
All 3 things that are so very important if you want to grow your business. Thank you, Roy, for sharing. I certainly didn't know that, so I'm sure a lot of others didn't know what you guys offer as well. So thank you so very much. Lenora, so I mentioned once I first started my business, MBAC was one of the first stops on my list, and that's where we met. And I love that you guys take someone, no matter where they are in their entrepreneur journey, if they just have an idea or a spark, you guys sit down and talk to them, you help them with certifications a whole host of things that you guys do with your incubator program. Can you speak specifically to those resources that you guys offer?
Yes, absolutely. First, I want to say thank you for asking me to be on this panel. I think it's quite an honor. And I also want to say I think it's very important, and I'm appreciative that you're allowing me to answer this question of who we are. I'd start by saying that actually we have two programs that are located at the University of Toledo. One of the programs is the Incubator Program, but we also have another program that's called the Minority Business Assistance Center. Both of these programs' primary objective is to strengthen the minority business company. Thank you for that. So I'd like to start by just giving a brief description of our incubator program. I'm excited to say that we have an upcoming move. Right now, we're located on Scott Park campus, but we'll be moving to the Nitschke Technology complex, that is across from the main campus of University of Toledo. With this move, we are excited that the business incubator will have the opportunity to have a renewed focus on attracting those early stage growth-minded businesses to participate in our program. We're looking to have programs that are designed to help these companies grow their businesses to scale. Members are going to have access to all of our program resources. Some of the things that they're going to be able to look forward to is the move is going to allow us to be in a state-of-the-art facility. We're going to be able to offer low rent packages for businesses that need office space, or perhaps you don't need office space. You just want to be associated with the program and all that it has to offer. We will be able to have shared co-working space and offer those to you in different packages. We'll have education and professional services, which are really important to small business and startups. So meeting with accounting experts or having IT and HR professionals on hand to be able to answer your questions or to calm your nerves when you are nervous about something. Our incubation team is going to be there to help assist you on your product discovery and also help you determine your revenue model. So we'll be there with you every step of the way. Of course, with the program, there are shared resources. There'll be copiers and faxes. You'll have the ability to have formal meeting rooms or private conference space when you want to meet with your clients or if you need to meet with banking authorities. We'll focus on business mentorship, and also we're going to be able to have marketing support with digital media technology, something that our program does not have now, but we will be able to encourage our clients to make videos, blogs, post these on social media, which we all know are proven methods of increasing your company visibility. So that's our incubator program, Ambria. But we also have another program called the Minority Business Assistance Center, or we shorten that to the MBAC. This program is community-based. It's a nonprofit that works in partnership with the State of Ohio Development Service Agency, their Minority Business Development Division, and it's hosted by the University of Toledo. So again, the MBAC focuses on helping those emerging minority businesses, small and disadvantaged, to cultivate their growth and sustainability. Our professional staff works tirelessly in 17 counties in Northwest Ohio. We provide business development and support services for our entrepreneurs. And these MBAC counseling services are so important because they're really tailored with helping the client to start where they are now and then grow their business. So it doesn't matter if you're a startup, maybe you've been in business for a while. You can be certified with the city of Toledo, state or federal programs. Maybe you're a profit or nonprofit, or perhaps you're just a person who has a desire to be an entrepreneur, but you need help getting started. We're there to help you incorporate your business. We're there to help you register it with the state and help you set up all the pieces that you're going to need in order to be successful. A couple of other benefits to being associated with this program and talking to our counselors is that all of our counselors actually have practical experience in running their own businesses. Not only that, we have to pass a state program called Certified Business Advisor upon entry into the program, which means that the state will recognize them as trained, skilled professionals who help advise small business owners effectively. Once you have that certification, annually, you're required to take 20 hours of continuing education so that you can keep up your competence and knowledge and be up to date on business matters. Another thing that the Impact Counseling Center is really good at focusing on are just helping our clients to understand those basic business best practices that are key to any business, regardless of your industry. We offer free education at no cost to all of our clients on this counseling and on these business services. Honestly, we're here just to support you so that you as the business owner can make the best and most sound decision for your organization. Sometimes that support and that counseling comes directly from us. Other times we reach out to our strategic partners, many of them who are on the panel with me today, to help our businesses grow. And lastly, I'd like to say that the MBAC is also moving to the new facility with the incubator program. And we are anticipating that with this relocation in the Nitschke Engineering Complex with the university's high-tech incubator, that there's going to be a lot of synergies, a lot of new ideas, a lot of opportunities for our businesses to commingle and share ideas amongst themselves and come up with new joint ventures and new products. And so we're just very excited to be able to offer that to our clients.
Thank you, Lenora. You guys do really, really good work. And I can say that personally because I've been in your incubator program and I've been an affiliate with the program. And so thank you for everything that you guys do. A question that I have for you. So now that the world is kind of opening back up, so to speak, a number of industries are opening, but they have significant restrictions to comply with. Are you guys offering any additional resources to help those companies as they open?
Well, some of our clients, due to the very nature of their business, have been impacted mildly or not at all, while other of our clients have actually had to temporarily shut down their doors. So I'll say that truthfully, we've really never stopped our services or even slowed down in trying to help our businesses stay afloat. We are still advising, we're researching, we're connecting our clients with people and resources that they need. In a lot of cases, we're right there with you in the trenches. If you need to go online and you're nervous about filling out an application for PPP monies, we'll go online with you. We'll go line by line through the application to make sure that you're comfortable and that you have filled things out and are able to take advantage of these programs in a timely manner. So we know that our clients are weathering this economic distress and everybody's experiencing it. So we're trying to be very diligent about making sure that when we get information from our local, state, federal, and even private companies that are funding new opportunities, that we make sure that this information is available as soon as possible. Because if it takes you a time to find out that a program exists, you're not going to be able to apply because the money is going to be gone. And
yeah,
so
it goes fast.
It does, and that's not a help to you. So we're really working, with our strategic partners, and even like Bill Wursel, who is on this panel with us today of the Small Business Development Center. We worked with him, and he's given us a lot of firsthand information on and clarification on these SBA programs, relief programs that we were able to share with our clients. We are also helping the state. We have an amazing chief, Mr. Jeffrey Johnson, who is in charge of our program, along with his Monica Womack, his business, not assistant, but he works with him as well.
Yes, I've met him.
Any programs that the state is offering, that they've been able to get to us, even if it's been after hours at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, we are trying to get that information out to our database of followers as quickly as possible. So that's something that we're doing. And lastly, I would say that we're also taking this time to, maybe for those businesses that are having downtime, to help them shore up themselves. So maybe you don't have a lot of business right now, your revenue stream has fallen off a little bit, and you're trying to determine how you can get that back up. Well, maybe now is the time to work on that business plan or on your marketing plan, or to become state certified as an EE. I was able to assist one client, Londell Smith and Associates from Lima, to get his MBE with the state of Ohio. So while others have met with us to seek professional business advice, we may try to help them figure out how to change their business model in order to pursue new revenue streams or opportunities. But we're still there with our clients, even though we're working remotely from home, and we're there with you every step of the way, and encourage you, if I could see the last slide, to please reach out to me personally. If you need to talk, I have my office number and also my email that I welcome you to reach out to me if you want to take advantage of any of our services or talk to our counselors. I'd be happy to talk to you.
Nice. You guys get out your phones, take a picture of the screen so you have this information. Thank you, Lenora, for all that. MBAC is a great program and have awesome, knowledgeable counselors that are just waiting to help you. Lenora, do you know when you guys will be opening up and seeing people in person?
Yes, we are headed back to the office July 6th. So
July.
we're working with the University of Toledo, which is a state university. We're also working with the head of our state program to make sure that we're following all protocols to keep our clients safe. That's our key concern, to make sure that they're safe, and that if they decide to come to the center, that they're protected and they feel comfortable. But we're also doing things to make sure that if that's not what they want to do, they still have access to us. So having office hours in the evening or reaching them on the weekend, because they're so busy through the week, they just, we're having virtual meetings. We'll still be continuing those, still collaborating with our partners to put out information, workshops, and seminars to reach all of our clients and to help them.
Got it. Okay, thank you, Lenora. So I have one kind of parting question for all of the panelists. We've learned, and I'll start with you, Sheila. We've learned so much from coronavirus. You talk about trying to scale your business or using that time, this time to work on your growth plan, come up with new strategies, etc. We've learned a lot. In the fall, they're expecting we're going to see a resurgence of coronavirus. And who knows, maybe we'll continue to experience pandemics as we move forward. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give business owners that they should certainly be implementing and doing right now to make sure that they survive the next one?
Well, if they haven't already, they should be incorporating this technology into their cash flow cycle. So they should be looking at ways to conduct contactless or touchless payments and receivables. How can I receive your payment without actually meeting you in person or collecting cash? Can we do this online? Can we send electronic invoices? Checks, even checks. We have a lot of property management owners that are collecting checks daily. Well, you can send those, have those tenants send those checks directly to the bank and let us process those for you. We can set up, technology where you're just like your gym membership, where we can pull those payments out of your account. So if you have customers that owe you money, or you have memberships or volunteer groups where people pay some type of fee monthly, we can set that up so that you can pull that fee electronically from their account, or you can send payments to your vendors electronically. You can pay your employees electronically, even those that don't have checking accounts. So say if you're going to survive or make it through this post-COVID environment, or even through this next storm that's coming, talk to your bank about how you can include this technology so that you can make these payments online. Accepting credit cards is very important and part of that technology too. So how can you do this online? How can you accept orders? All of those things.
Thank you. Yes, so we are getting our meeting on the calendar for sure, because I certainly take advantage of the technology that you're speaking of. So thank you, Sheila. Bill, I'll ask you the same question. Based on everything we've learned about coronavirus, what is the one key takeaway that you'll have for small businesses moving forward if we experience this again?
The key right now is to know the numbers of the business. You have to know what the revenue and the expenses are. And if you don't know what your expenses are and you can't manage those expenses, you don't know what amount of revenue you need to generate. So we're really going to try to be focusing over the next 3 or 4 months on helping businesses to really develop a better and more sound bookkeeping system. And obviously online, as the previous talker was saying, Sheila's very correct. There are so many opportunities that are available to you online that you need to be able to take advantage of, because it will keep you abreast of all the different information as quickly as it's available. And if you do really have a robust and up-to-date bookkeeping system and you do your taxes on time, you'll have much better access to the programs that are going to continue to be rolled out. The federal government, the state governments are not about to stop supporting small businesses, even if there is another round of this coronavirus. But if you don't have the technology, let's see how we can help you to get access to some of that soon. Please reach out to us. Tell us that you don't have the technology, and let's see if we can't find a program or a support organization that can get you the technology. We will then help you to learn how to use it properly.
Thank you. That is so important. Know your numbers, because that's what the bank is going to look for before they give you any type of loan. So that's great advice. You guys, please, listening audience, take pictures of the information, the phone numbers, email address, get the help you need so that, you know, your business can not only just survive the next pandemic, but in fact thrive. Okay, so Rhonda, I'm going to ask the same question of you. What would be the one thing you would want to give small business owners advice for the next pandemic?
Well, that's an excellent question. And, you know, a lot of what we're going through right now requires some out of the box thinking. And we've seen businesses adapt and adjust to what's going on. And I mentioned earlier that the library stands in the gap for a lot of marginalized groups. And so lack of information and lack of access is something that we really want to address. So when I showed the Toledo-Library.org/business URL, that has a resource that anyone in business, and small business especially, should be downloading. We actually have a small business booklet that you can download and access, and it's in English, it's in Arabic, and it's also in Spanish, because we know that that type of lack of access and language barriers is a problem also in business today. So I would download and look at that library resources for small business booklet. I'd also take advantage, I spoke earlier about all of the many databases that we have available. We have these research tools and materials that you can access for free with your library card. And you don't have to come to the library to get a physical card. We do have access on Toledo-Library.org for an e-card that you can get, and you can immediately start taking advantage of some of the resources that I'm stating. I want to just mention a couple of those databases. I know we're running low on time, but one that's been hugely popular is lynda.com, and it's LYNDA.com, Lynda with a Y. And that offers more than 3,000 courses that include more than 130,000 videos to educate you on all types of things, such as personal and professional goals. So even during this time, you should be taking advantage of that out of the box thinking and resources and free databases that we have that you can access right in your own home, right wherever you are in your business itself, in your office, in your dorm room. You can access this information. So those are some of the things that I really would encourage people to do right now, is to access this information, because it's invaluable, especially because we always say we're kind of going through this entire pandemic experience on a day-by-day basis. We don't know what tomorrow may bring. So educate yourself and really be up on some of these free services and offerings that the library offers for you. And so we're excited to kind of help you navigate these times. You don't have to do it alone.
Right. Thank you, Rhonda. That's so important because things are changing by the hour, you know, as more data becomes available and we learn more about the virus. I mean, things are changing so rapidly. And so to stay abreast on the information and be willing to do the research and do the work and learn is so very important. All this information I want to mention is going to be on the Toledo-Lucas County Health Department website. All this information will be there. So if there's something that you missed or something that you want to go back and reference, please know that all the information will be there. Roy, question to you. What would you say? What would you say is your number one, the number one thing that the small businesses should be doing in order to survive? The next one.
I would say reevaluate your plan, your strategy pre-COVID-19 and make the necessary revisions and modifications to be considered essential in the way that you become essential, even if this pandemic breaks out again in the fall, is to be top of mind with customers.
I love that.
The previous, you know, with me being CEO of an IT service provider, you know, it's really about digitizing and automating your business. A number of best practices that are available for small businesses to deploy cloud-based software applications that are subscription-based that you can purchase on a per user license, but you know, turn up the necessary infrastructure through the software platforms that make it possible for you to produce financial statements, that make it possible for you to capture, you know, client information and just really own your data. Understand what your data is telling you. If you've got those systems in place, that's first. So you can reach out to the Toledo African American Chamber of Commerce. I had mentioned that there's a technology support program. We think from owning your own domain to securing your website with the SSL certificate and using that registered domain name to build out secure corporate email and get away from these Gmail accounts and these free, consumer accounts that are laden with all of the virus and malware that you need to become susceptible to. Own your identity online. And so we can help you with those best practices. One other thing is use this time to reach out and understand what's available from the financial institutions that are here in our local market. You know, me personally, up until this point, I had several accounts in 2 banks, but within the last month, I went to a 3rd bank to diversify, only because one of the banks had reached its capacity with being able to administer PPP loans. And then I discovered that there was another resource here in Northwest Ohio, you know, that still had some bandwidth, you know, with being able to process loans and get them. So it was good for me to know that now. And so that's my message to entrepreneurs. You know, begin building that banking relationship, understand what business credit is. If you don't have a Dun & Bradstreet rating, go to dnb.com, Google Dun & Bradstreet, become familiar with the whole business profile credit, and begin putting a plan in place to build that so that when you do go to the financial institutions, you know, they'll be able to recognize you online through your business profile. And to the extent that that's populated, and it's reporting, you know, accurate information that's favorable, you increase your chances of being able to access capital, which is critical. So to be able to cash flow with whatever resources that are available so that you don't necessarily have to bootstrap. Those are my recommendations. Thank you.
That is great. Thank you, Roy. I especially love that you said, make your business essential, right? Because if your business is essential, you're always going to have demand from your customer. And so I think that that is so key. Thank you. Lenora, last question before we kind of wrap things up. What is your one thing businesses must do right now in order to survive a possible next pandemic or increase in coronavirus cases?
Well, I actually have a bunch of number ones. I agree with everything that my co-panelists have expressed so far. Those are things that we as counselors on the MBAC and also as staff with the incubation are constantly preaching to our clients and business owners. But I think something else that I've really noticed could be helpful is that this is the opportunity and the time for you to figure out new revenue streams and a different business model so that you are not put in a position of losing all your work, having no jobs, being unemployed, especially in those instances where perhaps both significant spouses in the house work for the business. And so when you lose your clients and you lose your ability to make money, then the household has zero income coming in. So I'm really working with my businesses to not be so tied to your business concept that you lose the ability to be creative in finding new ways, different paths to offer your businesses services and products. And as an example, I had a couple of cleaning businesses that found themselves in that situation where they lost all work, had no income coming in. But, figured that this is an opportunity to maybe be licensed to clean hospitals or laboratories or doctor's offices. So we started that process. We started the research and getting certified and making the connections and reaching out to the ProMedicas of the world and the Mercies so that you have established a separate revenue stream and you won't be in that position where you have nothing coming in. So
yes, it sounds like, we need to pivot. We need to pivot and think of sometimes we get so ingrained in our business that we stay so laser focused and we can't oftentimes see other opportunities. That's why it's so important to partner with all of you on this panel in order to kind of identify those gaps where you can grow. So just kind of in closing, I feel like the overarching theme to all this was get your technology in order. That should be the first step. The second one is knowledge is power, right? Rhonda said lynda.com, right? Knowledge is power. Third overarching is financials, credit, numbers. Know your numbers so that you don't miss another opportunity to get those funds when they're available. The fourth one I felt like is explore those growth opportunities and look in ways to build multiple revenues of income so you don't get stuck. And so I loved all those perspectives. You guys were great. Thank you to the Lucas County Health Department for providing this platform and the African American community and how we've been affected by coronavirus, for being a resource. This is the last of the series. I've enjoyed every last one of them, and I know they brought so much value to everyone in the community. So again, thank you guys for joining. Go to Lucas County Health Department Facebook and website, get all this information. And again, thank you to our panelists for being a part, and thank you for allowing me to share in this evening with you. Have a great night.